Chicago? What do you say? Cubs gonna win today.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast. We're going to talk baseball with Praz and Oleg, and clearly Craig Counsell is listening. So hi, Craig.
Hello, Craig.
Craig
Glad you finally listened to us.
Yeah, I don't know if he's listening.
Just reading.
He just reads. Yeah,
he just reads the news. You don't think he has time for the? I think he probably consumes all of it.
What he saw.
He's do something between innings.
He saw on there was a TV in the dugout last night in the 10th inning, and he saw me out in the bleachers, frustrated, throwing my hands up in the air, pissed off about Julian Merriweather not throwing a strike. Although that has very little to do with what my real frustration with Craig Counsell is. But
I would really like to thank you and appreciate that you kept your shirt on.
Well, don't tempt me with a good time.
Did you stop taking your shirt off because that other guy already got the Shōta commercial?
Well,
and you're like, what's it even worth now? I might as well just leave the shirt on.
Well, I don't know if you happen to see what happened to me earlier in the game with
I did.
The rip on my hoodie with that electrical box being open at Wrigley in the bleachers. But clearly the Cubs are trying to make sure that I have less clothes on me as the game goes on without me even knowing it. So there you go.
So you caught your sweatshirt. Were you wearing it or carrying it?
I was wearing it.
It was
one of those deals where in the tunnels leading to the concourse, like only one person can go if you're like, walking forward, if you're not kind of shimmying. Mm-hmm. So we were all kind of, one direction was shimmying one way, one direction was shimmying the other. And I kind of grazed up against this electrical box and, didn't realize
Was it in left field?
Was in left field, yes.
Well, you know why that thing's open.
Hmm.
That's where Al warms the bologna sandwich.
There we go. Exactly. Yep.
He pops that thing open, sticks it in there, lets the faulty wiring in the bleachers heat it up a little bit.
He's got a full panini press in there. Yeah.
No.
Plus, it's hardwired into the circuit board.
So
whatever it is.
You tweeted directly at Obvious Shirts, right?
Obvious Shirts
and basically said, "Hey,
and the Cubs.
Your boys with the Cubs just conspired to rip my sweatshirt. What are you going to do about it?" And Joe basically said, "Oh, we'll just send you a new sweatshirt."
Yes, very professional from Joe. Like,
I make fun of them for some of their lame shirt ideas, but he's very customer service oriented. I will give them.
Oh, absolutely. And he's been following me for a while, too. He knows how big of a Sammy fan I am. That was a Sammy Sosa specific hoodie. So, a very heartfelt thank you to Joe from Obvious Shirts for as much shit as we give him on this podcast.
Are you saying I should buy an Obvious shirt or sweatshirt? Which I don't even have a DeCipio one.
Oh,
we've been through
even
this.
I have a DeCipio one.
When you hopped on, when you joined this illustrious podcast, you were going to get two things. You were going to get a subscription to the newsletter and you were going to get a shirt. And you ended up buying your own subscription. So I just figured you were just going to buy your own shirt.
No, I will. And Andy,
I can get them at cost. So I can give you one.
My reward is just talking to you guys.
There we go. Your present is our presence.
So Praz, have the Cubs sent you a bill yet for scratching the door with your sweatshirt?
Yeah, don't tell him. Oh, I think Joe's going to tell him.
Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have tagged the Cubs on Twitter for that.
Crane, Crane.
Tom Ricketts is going to see that. Yeah, Crane, send this guy an invoice.
This guy attacked your electrical box door. It's a federally landmarked door. He hit it with his sweatshirt.
As Andy would know from sending me things in the mail, my address is a little hard to find for those who don't know the
it's got like
semantics of
DuPage
coordinates
County. In it.
Yeah.
It's like
right.
latitude and longitude. It's like, I don't know
Yeah.
about
One of
this.
those that's like 50 West 235
Exactly.
East
Yep.
5th Street or whatever. Oh,
Yep.
man.
You just said my address exactly on the air.
It's like,
Oleg.
No,
Thank
I
you for
did
that.
not. Stop it.
The mailman was like,
No idea
wait
what
a
your
minute.
address is.
Why does it say in 5 minutes? Like, yeah, that's a thing.
When
How many leagues is it from the intersection? I don't understand.
I honestly think the only reason I know that is I used to work. My dad was a cab driver in the suburbs, and I think one summer I spent working at the dispatch office. Then my dad kind of bought into a limo company a little bit, and so that's the only reason why I would even know that those addresses exist. Is it unincorporated DePage County, or is it just
Yeah, if you live in unincorporated,
okay?
and I think it's the other counties too. I think even some of Cook as well too. But if you live in an unincorporated
No,
area,
Cook
you
County's
have one of
same,
those
man.
weird alphanumeric addresses.
No, I don't think Cook County has any of those.
When I was a kid,
Like Will might, or Kane or something. Kane County, I'm sure does.
when I was a kid growing up on the farm, our address changed 3 times. We never moved.
Really?
Wow.
First, it was a PO box, and then that changed to a different PO. Even though they delivered to the house, we had a PO box. That was your address.
Interesting.
And then it was PO box, and then rural route 2.
Oh yeah.
That told them that you delivered it to a mailbox, not to the post office.
Okay.
Then then they changed the numbering, so we had a different number, still rural route 2. Then it became the fire number on the house. We actually had an actual street number. Like
Okay.
they literally have they assign numbers that then when there's a fire or you need to send a cop or a fireman out, there's an actual number now attached, and everybody got
That's
a
how
little
my place
sign
is.
for their yard with their.
So am I to infer that you never had a street number on your
Well, it's basically what the
house?
fire number is. It's basically a street number. It's a 5-digit number. And
But you
then-
didn't have
and
you
then
didn't have
Baker
one
Road.
like you didn't
Durando.
have one in the 70s or I don't know when this came about, but
This is electric conversation for all dozens of our listeners.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Sorry.
this. Let's get Cliff Clavin on to talk about the history of postal delivery
let me tell you about the
in
best
rural
old days.
Illinois.
Oh man.
Well, that's good. So anyway, the big news today is that today being Tuesday is that Dansby Swanson, who batted 5th the last 27 straight games, even with a 181 batting average, is now batting 8th. And it's all because I complained about it in the newsletter.
It's true. Yes,
All because
congratulations.
of you
nobody else
specifically,
did.
Andy.
Nobody, it was just me. I'm the only one who was like,
Hey.
does this seem wrong to you? Why does he still batting there?
Thank you for
And
your
Craig
service.
was like, oh, yeah, you guys got a pretty good point. But you were saying, Praz, and you didn't tell me, this is good podcasting because you didn't tell me what the thing was. You just told me that you see parallels in the way Craig has handled the Dansby thing with the way that El Baldo, David Ross, handled a similar situation. And I
Correct.
complained about it 2 years ago.
Correct. It is something you complained about 2 years. It doesn't apply tonight now that he's hitting lower in the lineup. But back in 2023, when the Cubs opened the season with a pair of catchers in Yan Gomes and who you referred to as Fucker Barnyard, aka Tucker Barnhart. Tucker Barnhart was getting quite a bit of playing time, and I remember you equating him to basically saying David Ross loves him because he is exactly who David Ross was as a player. A light-hitting backup catcher, prioritized defense more than offense. And, Craig Counsell in his playing career, not anything special, but, a long-time shortstop who kind of prioritized defense a little bit more than offense. And, seeing that, Dansby has a little more upside at the plate, but, could see the parallels there between why he would want to treat Dansby so much better.
A little more upside.
All right, I got to be
Slightly.
I think Dansby Swanson is better than Craig Counsell was.
I mean, this year, are we sure about that?
No, all right. Well, this year notwithstanding.
Ooh.
Yeah, Shōta is
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
gave up a double and now he's leaving the game. It looked like they were pointing at his leg, maybe not his arm. I hope.
It's good that that they saved all the money on signing a starter.
Yeah. All right, we'll worry about Shōta in a minute.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I even wrote some of the excuses that I think that Craig would give. One of them I think would be it's 29 games into the season, and a guy can have a bad 29 game stretch, but it had gotten so bad that you almost have to do it for Dansby, right? Not only is it like hurting the team, but that guy, he doesn't want to bat fifth and make a strikeout all the time.
Exactly.
Right. To me, that it's similar to, remember when Schwarber was struggling so badly in 17 and he just wouldn't send him down. Like he clearly, this was a guy who had missed the whole season before, did a crash course, was amazing in the World Series, started the next season, and he was struggling. And it was completely understandable why he might be struggling. And I just felt like they made it worse by like making it seem, we're not going to send him down. Like you make it seem like more of a punishment than when you finally send him down, instead of, AAA is a tool, right? Like he's not, we're going to get him down there, get him, at bats in a less pressure environment and get him back on, and we'll bring him right back. They dragged it on so long that Kyle had to feel like a complete failure when they finally sent him down, instead of, the guy hasn't played for a year, except for, 5 games. And he played in 5 games in a World Series, and that's the only at-bats he's had. They made it weird. And I kind of felt like this was getting to that point where it's like, no, Dansby, he's a proven veteran, and we're going to leave him in the same spot. And he's just up there flailing away.
Yeah.
He's some at bats he uses the torpedo bat. Some at bats he doesn't. It doesn't matter because he never hits the ball with either one of them. And it's like, just get him out of there. He doesn't want to kill rallies.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, like, they did it with Javi Baez, right? Baez struggled in 17, and they sent him down for pretty much the whole year. And
well, you had to Hap.
Yeah,
remember they all of a sudden
Hap to Hap. That's right. Yeah,
they sent him down to spring training. He was there for the whole first half of a season, and he's like, like, hey, did you forget I'm down here? But the Schwarber thing, they just couldn't bring themselves to do it. It was weird.
The thing I noticed with Dansby was, on that first homestand, I mean, numbers weren't all that impressive, but they were a little bit more resembling of what he does in March and April. And then he, on the California road trip out to San Diego and LA is when his numbers like really took a dive, because I think he had only about 3 hits in about 27 at-bats that entire time. So I thought, they got back to Wrigley for the homestand against the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers and the Phillies, and that, his bat would kind of heat up a little bit, and not exactly the case, but, glad to see Craig is actually taking some action about it now.
And I had suggested that I felt like one of the reasons that they didn't just move, and they didn't move Pete. Pete's still batting 7th, but I thought one of the reasons they didn't just move him up, switch him and Dansby, was Craig wouldn't want Bush and Pete batting back to back.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then it gets really easy to bring in one lefty to pitch to both of them out of the bullpen.
That does kind of make sense. Yeah.
And he clearly doesn't trust Bush, although what we saw tonight was promising. It's a lefty on the mound for the Pirates, and instead of benching Bush, he just moved him down one spot. He's batting him 5th.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We'll take that.
Oh, it's a Shōta. It's a hammy. They just showed him like grabbing his, gently rubbing his hammy. Either that, or it's because it was with his right arm, so it didn't look like he was. They zoomed in on his hand, fondling just below his own butt.
That's an important one for a lefty pitcher, though, because that's his plant leg. So.
But I'd rather it be a leg than an arm.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I say this, and somebody will listen to this tomorrow and be like, he broke his left arm in 4 places on that pitch. How did you guys not know that? Dave Dravecki, the arm flew into the stands, and you didn't even see it. One of the things I liked about the Dave Dravecki thing was he was one of the few guys you could accurately refer to as former left-hander.
Oh, God.
What am I not? Am I making something up? Didn't they cut his left arm off? I think they did.
Yeah,
they did.
So there you go.
I wonder, did Ron Santo ever have a kicking career in football or soccer as a kid? Former
It's a
striker.
former right-footed Ron Santo.
Yeah. Oh man. Hey,
We're 14 minutes in, and we've
to circle back on the
we've
point
evolved.
about Bush and PCA hitting back to back, though.
Mhm.
I guess I could see the strategy there between if you'd want to have them separated by a few spots to avoid having a lefty come in. I do notice though that, like, especially late in games, PCA is always someone who is really, like, has a real high tendency of wanting to bunt, and don't think that necessarily really matters when it comes to handedness. So, you know, I
Yeah,
think
but-
that could maybe be the game plan if they ever thought that PCA was worthy of hitting fifth or hitting, like, directly behind Bush.
I don't
Yeah, I don't
mind them being separate. Like I think there is something to not bringing in, keeping the lefty. What am I trying to say? I think there's something to the idea that you don't want one lefty getting 2 outs right away or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? Because they're
I mean,
not.
I don't think you should, like, paralyze yourself by
right.
trying to go right, left. But when it makes sense, it does seem like it is something you should do. And so, in this lineup on Tuesday, they actually dropped Bush to fifth. They stuck the red hot Carson Kelly in,
Mhm.
and that had been my suggestion. Right, was let's put while the catchers are both hitting, just put them in between Bush and PCA, which is they didn't really do that, but they're taking the hot hand and moving it up. And I thought, I mean, I don't want to rain on the guy's parade. I don't think Carson Kelly's going to hit 388 for the whole season.
Well,
And I kind of wonder, like, when is it too late to play the hot hand, right? Like, when you get, a whole month's worth, what are the odds that he keeps it up? And then, of course, they had him back cleanup and he hit a home run. So
yeah,
he just
that's
shut me
always
up.
the funny thing to me about, like, playing the hot hand is that, like, it's baseball. You never know when it's just going to go away.
Right.
So it's not, but there's something to be said. I mean, maybe he's made a change that we haven't noticed. I don't know.
And Craig got asked that one time last year when I think Bush had a 2-homer game and then there was a lefty and he didn't start the next day.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And he got asked, like, he just hit 2 home runs yesterday. And Craig's like, yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it starts over today. It's
Yeah.
not the same thing. And we're going to play the matchup. And then when we get to a righty, he's going to play again. And that makes complete sense, too. It's like, what just happened doesn't really, what is it? Past performance is not indicative of future results or whatever.
Correct.
Yep.
If that was the case, Jason Hayward would probably, opted out after 3 years.
Right. He
That comes
homered his first at bat and why did he homer every at bat? Look how hot he
Exactly.
was.
There's, momentum is a nice thing to talk about, but it's not, probably isn't really a thing. Not to the extent
Momentum
that-
is tomorrow's starting pitcher.
Yeah.
We'll just
There you go.
bang out all the old baseball cliches. It'll be great.
It's funny. I was arguing with a friend of mine. I may have mentioned it on this podcast. I was arguing with a friend of mine who said that home runs are rally killers.
Yeah, Jim Riggleman
Yeah.
All right.
is your
Yeah.
friend who you talked to that about. One
And
of the
then
dumbest things I've ever heard of.
And then did you talk to Dusty Baker about how walks clog up the bases?
Yes. The walks are clogging up the bases. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to include dude in that statement.
Dude.
'cause-
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when Riggleman said that, and it was quoted in that, and it's like, okay, I understand, like, that's a thought that you talk out. Like, it's not, you shouldn't make that as a declarative statement.
Right.
That should be I wonder, do you think maybe a home run actually because it kind of resets things for the pitcher and gets the runners off the bases, but it overlooks the fact that anybody who's on base just scored.
Correct.
Like, it's the most you can score on any one pitch. They just did.
Yes.
And now those runs are in the bank instead
Yeah.
of, well, we got runners at first and third and they're still on the ropes. And then the next guy hits in a double play and you didn't get any more runs. You might have wanted a home run over that single. I got
But,
it. Just,
yeah, the idea kind of being that you now have to get more hits in order to score the runs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like it's sort of the same thing. I was talking to Donahue one time about the penalty shot in hockey, and how it's like you definitely always would rather have the penalty shot than the 2-minute penalty, because chances of scoring on a penalty shot are way greater
Yeah.
than scoring on a penalty.
There's our hockey reference for the podcast for those of you checking the box. Yep.
We haven't had that in a while.
on the bingo card.
Yes.
So it's the same concept. Momentum isn't a thing to the point where you don't want the home run.
Yeah. Because I always think of it when somebody talks about a momentum killer, they're not talking about just like an out of nowhere solo homer. What they're talking about is you're in the middle of a rally, and somebody hits a home run, which to me means you scored multiple runs on that one pitch.
Yes.
Instead of this guy gets a single and now you get an extra guy in scoring position and the pitcher's still nervous and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, I want all those runs that you just got. Give me those. I want those instead because I put those in the bank. I don't have to worry about getting another because it's hard to get hits.
Exactly.
What I would maybe come to see Riggleman's point on this a little bit is that like it does take the pressure off of the pitcher, assuming the pitcher is still staying in the game after that home run. Who it does put pressure on is the guys behind him thinking, geez, now we got to string some hits together next time we're up, and they'll be pressing when they're at the plate, you know? The pressure is on for them.
Even the whole pressure argument kind of falls apart when you consider that you just scored a bunch of runs on one pitch. Like, the pressure, it doesn't, who cares about the pressure if you've got runs in the bank?
I remember as a kid reading a biography of Ted Williams, and Ted was it had to be when he wasn't in the minors very long because he broke in the big leagues really young. But he apparently was telling his minor league manager that he should pitch. Like he could do both. He could play left field and he could pitch, and you should let him pitch. And they finally let him pitch
at the same time.
Huh? Yes, he pitched from left field. It was a long throw. They let him come in and pitch, and he loaded the bases, and then he gave up a grand slam. And the manager came out to take the ball from him, and Ted's like, he said some smart ass like, "What are you doing out here?" He says, "There's nobody on base. What are you taking me out for?" And Ted they never bothered with that again. So.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, so the it does show that for as many runs as this team is scoring, there's still a bat short.
Correct.
I feel like. There's too many.
Yes.
Like there's especially when you're now, and I kind of hope they just do this. Like if I were Craig, I would just play Birdie at third every day.
Yeah,
yes,
100%.
He's your least. He's the
the least bad.
Yes, the least bad guy you have. He's going to play good defense at third. If he gets on, he can steal a base.
Yep.
He's not going to slug at all. But when I really want to like Vidal Bruján, he makes it so hard. Like he's
just not good.
He can't. He wears oven mitts on both hands, and he can't grab the fucking bag. So he slides super late. So he slid right over the base and was out because there's no way he could hold on to it. And then you saw it coming in the ninth inning, or in the 10th inning. Not only does he play back on a Trey Turner ball that he should have come up to get.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't know that it's Trey Turner running because he does the normal, like he pats his glove and then he's like, oh shit. And he makes a really strong throw, but it's too late. It's like, what, buddy, what the fuck? Are you, and it's like, we just don't need that. So just, we'll put the old fast guy at third until, Matt Shaw, who's I believe hitting 134 at Iowa, gets super hot and comes back. He's not striking out though. 5 walks and 1 strikeout. So
that's
and maybe they're changing, maybe they're tweaking his swing a little bit, and then you would expect him to probably struggle a little at first. But I have a feeling when he comes back, he's still going to have the
leg kick. Is that what? Yeah, because they were talking. I appreciated. Mark DeRosa is pretty good at this. I appreciate Mark DeRosa's breakdown, the video.
That really good. He does one of those almost every day on that show. Yeah.
When he gave this analysis, did you stand up and giving a standing ovation like in his first game back at Ridley in 2009?
I give him one when he comes out. Well, first I always give Lauren Shahadi a standing ovation.
Nice,
just because. But out of respect, whenever D-Row, that's how I like to call him, D-Row. Whenever he's on, I stand up, give him a very polite standing ovation for his 2 years. He talks fondly though. It comes up. It's amazing. he played on really good teams with the Braves. He talks about the 07 and 08 Cubs all the time on that show. That clearly was the most fun he ever had in baseball. And he was like a really important part of those teams.
Pretty good, yeah.
I do kind of wonder with him, like, does he have a little bit of bitterness towards the Braves? Because, like, that's when his career really took off, is when he got let go by the Braves and went to Texas. So, could be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rudy Jaramillo, his hitting coach at Texas, and Rudy changed his swing, and then
the guy who was
he had the good year, and then he cashed in with the big contract with the Cubs, so he's probably perfectly fine with it.
Guy who was going to fix all the Cubs hitting problems in 2010.
He went on this thing today though about he's coaching his sons. I don't know how old his kid is. I don't know if he's like 10 or if he's older than that. They had an interesting. They talk about stuff you wouldn't expect. Like they said, one of the things they were talking to somebody from the Astros. One of the things Jose Altuve had to get used to now that he's in the left field is the long run in at the half inning before if he's going to lead off the inning. Like you don't think about it, but he's got because they take so little time between innings now, and with the pitch clock, you got to bust your ass in, get your stuff, and get on deck. And then Jose has like this. He's got a thing he likes to do, and he was running out of time. Like he felt rushed at the plate because it was taking him longer to get to the dugout to get his stuff to go on deck. And Mark was saying the same thing happens in Little League. He said you get some of these travel league and Little League coaches who they want their players to huddle up after every half inning and have like a little strategy thing. He's like, knock it off. Just let the kid go bat. We don't need that. And then he takes a pause and then he goes, and the other thing is, you're not a player. Don't wear the pants. You're a grown man. You don't need to wear baseball pants when you're coaching Little League.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy cow, my question just slipped out of my head.
You were distracted by Kyle Tucker's
were you
RBI
distracted by
Kyle
Ian
Tucker.
Happ running with his little toddler arms? It'll never get old to me. The way he runs, it's like he thinks he looks like he's always about to fall over, and he has to stick his arms out at the side.
Like, it's not a surprise that Altuve is going to lead off the inning, right? Like, it's not all of a sudden like, oh yeah, shit. Like, can't he have his stuff ready? In the
they were just saying that because he played second forever and he always had a relatively short run in, that it's just a thing that changes. When you change positions after you've played one for 15 years,
right?
There's things you don't think about are going to be different.
Yeah,
You're like, oh shit, this is different, and it's not a big. Actually, I think because it's such a small thing, it makes it more interesting.
That is interesting. All right, fair enough.
They're also making him. He actually, though, they have a lathe in the dugout, and he has to actually like make a bat before every at bat now, and that's taking longer than he thought.
Right. Well, especially now that he's using torpedo bats.
That's right.
Bats
I fucked it up.
him.
Can I? No, you have to use it. Oh, we don't. You don't have time, Jose. You got to bet. Shit. Maybe they could have him run over. Maybe they could have like who's the guy that goes straight? Cam Smith. Maybe they could have Cam Smith run in and meet Jose at second, and then Cam could just pick Jose up and carry and run him into the dugout.
Come on, rookie. You got to earn your stripes. Carry our leader.
Am I fireman carrying him, or is it a piggyback situation? Let's try piggyback first, and then we'll go to fireman. Okay.
They should just have.
The Astros are thinking about moving Cam to center, as if they don't have enough going on with the 22-year-old or whatever. It's like, why don't we just move you to center field because you're faster than we thought.
Making my AL West pick of them look not great so far.
Well, the Astros were really bad in April last year, and they came back, right?
That's true. Around the time the Cubs played against them last year, the series that influenced them to have Kyle Tucker become a Cub, clearly.
Mm.
Yeah.
You're saying
go ahead.
You're saying Cam Smith 211, 300, 380 with 22 strikeouts and 71 at bats. That's not good.
Wouldn't say that's good.
He'll figure it out. Like he's a pretty good ball player.
Do you know how many at bats he's had in his life above Class A, including the 71 he has for the Astros now?
How many guys? 271.
90.
90.
19 at bats at Tennessee last year. Yes.
Wow.
19. It was aggressive. moving
That
him
is
right to the
aggressive.
big leagues.
Yeah.
That
On
is
the,
aggressive.
The Corey Patterson fast track, or maybe the Gage
Well-
Workman fast track.
Cam Smith was
Oh,
Or
Gage
whatever,
was not
for
on a
Gage,
fast
huh?
track. Gage was
Yeah.
on a
True,
very
true.
slow. He was like in an Amish buggy. He
and Cam did come out of college, so I think it's a little bit different than
Yeah.
Corey.
yeah, the ACC.
Right.
Did I see? I thought I saw a headline. I didn't click through to the article. Did Kaplan have something today about?
Yes. Oh, I wanted to
On
talk.
the-
I'm glad you talked
yep.
about this. So,
On
friend
the
of
recap
my
podcast.
good friend Dave Kaplan, who hasn't
Yeah.
called me in a while. I tell you that occasionally he just calls, and I'm always sure it's a wrong number. Like he
Okay.
didn't mean to call me, but he won't admit it. And he'll be like, Dolan. Oh, hey, I just wanted to see how you were doing. Did you? You didn't just butt dial me. Yes, he claims that he has talked to highly placed sources within the Cubs
Mhm.
that the way he put it is they have wrapped their brain around how much it's going to cost to keep Michael Tucker, and they're now
Tucker.
Michael Tucker. Sorry, yeah, Michael Tucker. They think they
Hey,
can get him for 3 years,
Let the Cubs in triples
$240,000.
one year. Pay that man.
Michael's son, Kyle.
Yeah.
His
Kyle
adopted
Tucker.
son, clearly. Yes.
And that the only thing now is maybe the only reason they won't sign him is if Kyle just says he'd rather play somewhere else, because the Cubs they're gonna offer him enough money. Basically they're gonna top whatever. It won't be because they won't pay him. That's what Cap says.
If I could offer just a little friendly piece of advice to Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins and Tom Ricketts, because I know they listen to this podcast, why don't you just do that now? Just do that now before he hits the open market.
But
and don't
if
worry
you're
about that.
if you're Kyle Tucker, first you talk to your dad Mike and you're like, "Hey Dad,
Yes.
what do you think I should do?" Why would you do it now? Don't you want to
Agree.
go hit the market and make the Cubs bid? I would.
I agree. I would. Especially,
But-
yeah.
So the Cubs are at the point right now. The thing they just won't do. They would have to they'd have to just whip out. They got to drop their balls on the table and just make him the offer.
Yeah.
Basically say, make him an offer that's like, holy shit, I can't turn that down. That's too much. Too much to turn down.
12
You
years,
can't-
480 million. Just do it.
Yep.
12 years, 480.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. All right.
Yep.
I'd go for that. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I don't think
I'd
I
be
don't
down
think
for
he'd say
that.
no.
I was going to say 10, 450, but that works for me.
Well, but see, this is the AAV is less.
By the time
Oleg's.
you get to the
So the
back end
Cubs,
of the
it's a more
contract,
team friendly. Oleg's is more team friendly than.
That's true. He's looking at the more realistic offer from Ricketts.
I am trying to be more empathetic this year, and that empathy is for Tom Ricketts' bottom line.
Yeah. I'm really
Thank
concerned
you.
about it
He
too.
thanks you for that.
Yeah.
He definitely just subscribed now if he didn't already.
So Carson Kelly, as we record this, is 1 for 3 tonight, which has made his batting average go down.
Oh, cut him right now. Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Terrible.
only hitting 341.
Yeah.
With a homer tonight.
So,
That OPS is comical.
so I'm hit a pretty big home run against the
1300.
Diamondbacks in that Friday game. Tell you what.
He's I think he probably this is the real level now. I think it finally clicked
1 for 3 every day.
after 10 years in the
Oh,
big leagues.
I see what you're saying.
Carson's
He
like,
is-
I know what I'm doing now. I'm ready.
He is catcher Luis Gonzalez and Raul Ibanez.
Yeah, except I think there might have been. So you're saying he's about to fail a drug test?
I don't want to put that out.
What
into
would we
ether.
do
I'm
if
not at
he
liberty to say.
other Jim Millard himself, and all of a sudden, we talked about Jim Miller.
Well,
We talked about it on the pod or
Hey,
before the pod.
you
before the pod.
got another
Oh,
beefy
I think
catcher
that
down in the
doesn't make any
minors
sense
and Moises Ballesteros, so he'll slot in nicely.
It would be a giant shrug.
Do you think if Jim Hendry were still general managing the Cubs, that Moises Ballesteros would be taking ground balls at third base?
Like Jake Fox, yeah, exactly.
Like right now? Like, all right, this motherfucker, nobody can get him out. Like there is no doubt that he can hit. But if they brought him up, he'd have to DH basically or be the third catcher.
Right.
But they've got this gaping hole at third now. Moises is off to. This is actually a slower start than I thought at Iowa.
Okay.
Through the first 22 games, Moises is only hitting .414 with a .475 on base and a .586 slug. He's walked 10 times and struck out 12 times.
Seems adequate to me.
He's 21 years old.
Oof.
In AAA.
Well, hopefully he likes sunny Miami. Maybe. We'll see.
How about this? Play him at third and have Hap play a more shallow left.
There
so if
you
the
go.
ball gets by Moises, Hap can still try to throw guys out of first. Actually, he won't be able to do it with that weenie arm.
Let's see you really earn that Gold Glove this year, Happer.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this between Petecrow and Tucker, like that's you just play them like in left center and right center.
Yeah, and then
Play Hap up a little bit.
Hap can just play right behind Moises.
Yeah.
Like 5 feet behind him. So if a
Sure.
ball gets through him, he just picks it up and makes a throw. It's perfect. All right, I like it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's see. Has Moises played anything other than catcher?
Is he catching in Iowa?
Wasn't he first base a little bit?
He's played one game of first base this year.
Okay.
In the minors, he's played 60 games at first, 246 at catcher, and 6 at DH.
Well, hey, wasn't Michael Bush's original position third base with the Dodgers?
That's right. Just switch him back. Moises goes to first,
There you
Bush goes
go.
to third, and the defense at both spots gets horrible.
Exactly.
You take a really good first baseman and move him to third. But anyway,
That's like with the Cubs, as good as the Cubs are up the middle, as good as their defense is, that might work.
Well, the problem is you have a huge height loss at first base, and Ballesteros can't stretch out and catch some of those high throws from Nico.
I mean, you know what they
Dansby,
could do?
Bush.
You could trade Ian Happ, play Seiya in left, and just DH by. Oh no, we can't. That's right. Ian has a no trade.
What you got? 1 year left after this year?
Yeah, one after this year.
Correct.
We're almost to the half. I'm going to celebrate. Would it be like July, the halfway point?
Yeah, the halfway point.
And you know damn well, as soon as I do that, they're going to announce a 5-year contract extension with
Oh.
a no trade.
Hey,
And then use it as an excuse why they can't give Tucker his money.
Yep.
This has probably been by far Ian Happ's best April as a Cub. He normally gets off to
It's funny.
really
He got
terrible
off.
starts.
He got off to a terrible start, but then, just within the month, he got it turned back around. Yeah. I have very little. I don't really have a lot of problems with Ian now that I feel like he's batting in the right spot. My biggest problem was the batting third fiasco where he wasn't producing, and Ross was like, "Oh, he's a number 3 hitter. He wants to be a number 3 hitter. I don't give a shit what he wants. He's not hitting." Yeah, I still like the fact that he'll make like a slightly above average catch in left, and you get the Gold Glover.
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever. Guys, knock it off. Right. Those Gold Gloves, there's an embarrassment to the Gold Glove process.
Yeah, I'm sure the Phillies, who just took 2 out of 3 at Wrigley and have been a perennial playoff team, really care a lot about outfield defense with Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos roaming the outfield.
I mean, they have a good center fielder who legitimately a good defensive center fielder. They got 2 of them, right? Marsh and Rojas.
But I don't know if
bad on
Rojas
defense.
is in the everyday lineup, but good
Either
options.
one, right? I think they platoon or something, but they're not a good defensive team.
No,
but they strike out a bunch of guys. Like I feel like they're a high strikeout team. It's sort of like the Cubs. Wasn't 16? Maybe it was 07, 08. I don't remember. Maybe it was 3.
16 they were famously like great defensively.
Yeah, they were amazing.
One of their superpowers was the ball was in play. They were gonna get you out.
Yep. Which I feel is pretty similar. This year's Cubs team is kind of like that too.
Are you saying that the 2003 Cubs weren't a great defensive team with Moises in left and Sammy in right and 40-year-old Kenny Lofton in center?
I was going to say noodle arm Kenny Lofton, the only weakness in his game.
Lenny Harris playing third for half the season.
Yeah, and then The best of the bunch making the most crucial error ever. Yeah.
Randall Simon clearly known for his defense.
Yeah, for his defense.
Him and Karros both. They were great. And Hesop, the defense really went down when Hesop cracked his head on the foul line.
That was some great defensive prowess with him and Kerry Wood against the Yankees.
Randall Simon is the guy who swung a bat at the mascot.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I'm reassembling the book. From the 2003 one.
I can't wait.
And one of the columns I wrote early in the year was about Randall Simon getting arrested for hitting the sausage with the bat.
Yes.
And I just thought it was so funny that it's like foreshadowing, because there's this random thing about this guy, and then there's a whole thing about Palmeiro, and I forgot how long it took for him to tell the Cubs he wouldn't waive his no trade. Because I don't know if you remember that the Cubs had a trade worked out with Texas to bring Rafael Palmeiro back to play first, and Rafi basically decided he didn't want to. And the Ranger, John Hart, was telling him, "We're not bringing you back next year. You should probably go." And he's like, "No, we'll work something out." And he stayed. And then he said, "Okay, you're done. Go to Baltimore."
I could see a reason why Palmeiro didn't want to come back. I mean, was Ryan Sandberg kind of a more presence, was he more around those days? Maybe he might have a bone.
2003?
3, yeah.
0-3,
Then they pivoted and they got Randall Simon instead, who hit an enormous home run against the Marlins. Yeah.
One of the craziest games ever.
Was Palmeiro still good in 03? I mean, he must have, because he went to Baltimore and he was all right there, right?
Let's look him up.
He must have been pretty good.
The only thing I didn't really follow much of Rafael Palmeiro, because he mostly played in the American League, didn't play as a Cub during my lifetime, but I know didn't he win a Gold Glove one year where he played 140 games as DH?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's every time they give you a half a Gold Glove. I remember that. 2003 Rafael Palmeiro. 38 homers, 112 RBIs. He had 260, 359 on base, 508 slug. So he would have been a very nice addition.
I think it's hilarious to see stats back then, but then look at OPS plus, because an 867 OPS
117.
That would be like a 140 OPS today. OPS today.
It's 117, and his 867 OPS. I mean, we know kind of why, but it was his second lowest since 1993. 926, 942, 963, 927, 815. 945, 1050, 954, 944, 962, then 867.
I wonder what was happening in the mid to late 90s in baseball that would cause things.
It is funny though, until he got busted late, right? Like when he was in Baltimore, he claims Miguel Tejada gave him a vitamin shot and whatever, because he was a guy that people didn't suspect.
Right.
Like there was no buzz around Palmeiro using steroids. And it was like, holy shit. And then he was kind of one of the things that I think there's a lot of guys who you don't have to look like fucking Popeye to be doing this.
My argument is that it wouldn't shock me. I'm not accusing him of it, but it wouldn't shock me if somebody like Greg Maddux did steroids. Only because you're talking about a pitcher who never went on the IL or on the DL back then.
Yeah.
That to me is crazy. Just the idea of making that many starts and doing that much pitching.
Is that why you think you think that's why he let himself get fat late, so then no one would ever suspect it?
Exactly. He did it he did it the Mo Vaughn way, where you don't work out at all.
Just take him and go lay down on the couch and wait for him to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but Maddux talked about Maddux got LASIK.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And he basically said, how come this is okay? And that's not. As in this performance enhancing, they literally went in and they fixed my eyes. So I see better than I could have before. He goes, I see better now than I did with glasses.
Yeah.
How come that's not a thing?
Similar to your point, Oleg, I've heard people say similar things, suspecting that Cal Ripken made it on the Chiefs for all the time that he was.
It's 162 games a year. As a pitcher, you make 30. It's just your arm just gets sore, and the idea of making every start, and I don't know if he did every start right on time. I'm sure there was an extra day off here and there, but it was that's a bonkers thing to think about.
Yeah.
So I don't, and to be clear, I couldn't care less. Like, there's no,
Oh,
I couldn't care
absolutely.
less.
Who cares?
But yeah, it's sort of interesting to me that.
Do you know how
Maddox,
many days in his career Greg Maddux spent on the disabled list?
No,
15.
15.
I
did
assume it was his
115
first stint as a
One
Cub.
15 day. No, it was his last year, or one of it, his second to last year with the Braves, for an inflamed nerve in his lower back.
Okay.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Never
Like, it
had
wasn't
an arm
like-
injury.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that that's it's evidence that he did it, right?
No,
But it
you literally
it's-
just accused my favorite pitcher of being roided to the
Yeah.
gills for his entire career.
You know what, Oleg, you're off the podcast now. Let's call up Brod, see if he wants to do this again.
Yeah.
my next monthly bill doubles.
Yes,
for
exactly.
pointless exercise.
That's right. All right. See, this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him on the $170 plan.
It wouldn't surprise you. Like, it is what it is. Like I said, it doesn't matter.
I know you were
Less
using
fun.
him as an example. You
Like
weren't
Tom
actually
Glavine is the
accusing
same
him.
way. Like, Tom Glavine never went on the DL. There's just so many pitchers like that, and I just feel like, and what made me think of it is your whole point about Palmeiro and nobody accusing him. It's just like my expectation is just that 80%. Like, Jose Canseco probably turned out to be way right when everybody thought he was crazy when he said 80% of ball players. And I think that may have been a low number. That may have been too conservative. But also, it's the funny thing. Sorry, to get back to Palmeiro, it's hilarious to me how the accusation is, "I got a shot," and as if that would make you
right. That one time.
like, one shot.
Just
That's all I got. I got vitamin. He gave me a vitamin D shot right in the butt. Oh, is that what you guys are calling it now? Vitamin D. Okay, so we have an in-game injury report. It's always good to do these on a recorded podcast. Shōta cramp. I left a right hamstring cramp, but this is the Cubs, which means his career is over. Yes, he is.
Yes, they have decided to.
It's a cramp for
amputate.
now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he won't miss a start. Then he misses a start. Won't need to go on the injured list. Then he goes on the injured list. He's fine. Be back. Minimum stay. 60-day injured list.
Yeah.
And then amputation. Then former right legger Shōta Imanaga.
To bring it full circle with Ron Santo, yes. You could probably dig up Ron and get his old prosthetic leg. He's not using it anymore.
Right. Whoa. Do people get buried with their prosthetic legs?
I mean, Ron, didn't he famously have the Cubs logo on it? You know he wanted to be buried with that thing on it.
I would think you would. I mean, what are you going to do with him otherwise? I mean, I guess we know, if it had been Ernie, his ex-wife would have sold them while he was still alive.
Oh.
Ernie, can you sign these for just a second? Just a second. What? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back on eBay, huh? Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
If it's Rhino, Cindy's putting a corncob dress on him, and yeah.
Do you think, I have to go to a funeral tomorrow, do you think that it would be in bad taste to ask the funeral director if people get buried in their prosthetics?
No.
Think so?
It'll be fine.
I'll report back in a couple weeks. Huh. But you're right. What would they do with them?
Did Ron? I mean, why? So Ron, I'm sure he had the toupee. If you're going to wear the toupee, wouldn't you wear the legs too? The toupee's just as fake as the legs were.
Do you think he got buried in the toupee too?
Yes. Of course he did.
With the toupee, after all the stories Pat Hughes has told about that, that's got to be in the utility tunnel of fame, honestly.
Just stuck to the wall instead of a plaque. It's just glued. It's just glued there. Because that's the best story. I forget who was that. That was one of the sidekicks, right? Like Andy Mazer or
Mark Grody or something like that.
It might have been Grody.
Corey Provis.
Yeah, but they got sent to Ron's room because he couldn't find his I forget if he had the two toupees. He had the gamer, he had the one that was kind of worn out, and then he had the other one, and he couldn't find it. And they went to his hotel room in kind of a panic. And they noticed a FedEx, a folded up FedEx box, and then when they flipped it over, the toupee was stuck to the other side of it.
Oh.
So they just peeled it off and brought it to the park. He'd set it down and it stuck to the box, and when he flipped the box over, it covered up his hair and he couldn't find it.
Oh God. Oh.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at
Oh
that.
my God is right.
Yeah. Hey.
Dansby
Number 8
Swanson,
spot for Dansby, baby.
home run out of the 8th spot.
He's
Let's
back.
go. Keep him there,
All
Craig.
right, move him up. He'd be hitting cleanup
no,
tomorrow.
No,
He's on
no,
fire
no.
now. Man, another couple hits, and Andy's going to owe you. You're going to owe Dansby an apology, Andy.
Yep. Because I said so many mean things about him today. I thought I was very sympathetic.
I am happy that. I mean, obviously, I'm happy that he homered, but it's kind of good for him. Maybe he does.
To me,
snap out of it a
the
little bit.
crazier thing, and it's what I started to write before I decided I needed to write about the Dansby thing, was because I had this thought. I'm like, when Carson Kelly got off to such a hot start, and at first it started with home runs. I'm like, shit, I'll bet he's already got more homers than all those dud backup catchers that Jed signed. And
all of them combined.
He does. Now, especially now with his 7th.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's lapping
was-
the field.
Tomas Nido,
Yeah.
Tucker Barnhart, Luis Torrens, PJ Higgins, Austin Romine, Tony Wolters, Jose Lobaton, Eric Castillo, and Tyler Payne.
I have no idea who those last two are.
No, the last two. One was 4 games, one was 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember Lobaton, he did something awful, right? I remember he had gotten picked off. We remembered him because he got picked off first in Game 5 against the Nationals, for the Nationals.
Yes.
But then he did something terrible, something awful stupid for the Cubs in 21. I don't remember what it was. But those guys combined for, I'm trying to read this down. I should find it in the 1, 2,
Like
3.
4 or 5 home runs. Yeah, it was
3 home runs.
3.
The backups in 21 before Robinson Chirinos showed up, which still cracks me up. I had to double check the math. The Cubs brought him back 21 years after they signed him. Originally.
I mean, yeah.
21. I'm like 11? No, 21. Higgins, Romine, Wolters, Lobaton, Castillo, and Payne in 105 games combined for 1 homer and 5 RBIs.
Yeah.
All of them, Austin Romine.
Sure.
There was one point in the 2021 season, I remember this randomly from a conversation a buddy of mine and I were having one night, that Cubs catchers at that point, and this was pretty deep in the season. This was either early July, late June, when most of the guys that you mentioned had already been on the roster. The Cubs catchers combined that year, or to that point that year, had 107 times on base, hits, hit by pitches, walks, what have you. And 100 of those were by Wilson Contreras.
Yeah. It was amazing how terrible.
Yeah. It was so bad.
I mean, backup catchers are generally terrible anyway.
Yeah, but this was epic.
Yeah,
this was
it was.
None of them were worth a shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would have rather had Paul Bacco than any of them.
Yeah.
Maybe even then, Paul Bacco.
Oh, even then, Paul Bacco.
In his late 40s, he would have rather had Paul.
You know what? You know what they should have done
DeBoer.
was had David Ross strap on the catcher's gear, because he was right there.
I was surprised it didn't happen, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Player manager.
Yep.
Maybe a foul tip to the head would have done him some good.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Not a foul tip. Foul ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was going to
Huey.
say Donahue's going to.
Yeah, he just screamed.
I think you may have saved it. I think you're okay.
It's there's very few announcers who get it right. It's really, and it's really frustrating. Now, once Huey emphasized it, it's so noted. But Boog is the worst because Boog has a call for it, which is wrong. It's foul tip into the mitt. It's like, no. What made it a foul tip was that it was caught. So you don't need the in the mitt. It's if you don't catch it, it's just a foul ball. It's only a foul tip if the catcher catches it for a strike. So knock it off.
Yep. Nope. I agree. It's to me, it's similar to when I see somebody use an apostrophe in plural
Yeah.
when it doesn't belong. Like I can't unsee it. Like it just every time it bothers me.
Or not using the correct version of your, like
Yeah,
with the
I've kind of
apostrophe. But
yeah. That's just that whole thing is dumb. Like I get it.
I noticed that there's a family. You drive by their house and they have their name on a rock, like carved into a rock with the
Yeah.
apostrophe.
Oh God.
mm,
And so I've just decided that what they mean is that everything you see is theirs. It's not the
Yeah.
plural. It's not
There you
plural.
go.
It's this is our shit. This rock is ours. This is ours. This is mine.
But then
It-
wouldn't
Singular possessive.
I
That's
didn't
what
know.
it is.
I didn't know that you lived so close to the Get a Brain Moran guy from your
Yeah.
famous picture.
He lives. Well, that's my uncle Marty. He lives with us now.
Yeah.
So if their last name doesn't end, and this is actually a serious grammatical question that I probably should know the answer to, but if their last name does not end in an S, then shouldn't the apostrophe then go on the outside of the S?
They shouldn't have an apostrophe.
All of their no, I understand they should, but if
Yeah.
they're talking about possessively,
Right, it would
I think
actually
that then
be
the apostrophe would still be
the singular, the possessive. The way they have it, it's just one of
Yes.
them claiming
Yes.
it's all of his.
Claiming
It's his
everything.
stuff.
Exactly.
Maybe it's only one person lives there,
Yeah.
and he's
Maybe.
like, "This
You're
is
right.
mine.
Yep. Yep.
This is
yep.
my shit. Get away from
Yep.
me. Don't touch my stuff. If you touch my
Yeah.
stuff, I'll kill you."
It's
Really?
it's like sending
Because it
your
says psychos right
like,
now.
Yeah.
If you
like
touch my
sending your
stuff,
kid to school
lighten
with
up,
like
Francis.
the name written on the side of their shoes or their lunchbox or whatever, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, the apostrophe gets me every time. I just can't.
that reminds
I
me
think
when
it's called a grocer's apostrophe.
the grocer's apostrophe.
I remember reading about why. I can't remember why now, but that's called a grocer's
My
apostrophe.
mom was a kindergarten teacher,
Mhm.
and for the kids who couldn't remember, you got to teach kindergartners a lot of stuff. Some kids would put their shoes on backwards all the time. You know, they just get them on the wrong feet.
Oh,
know, got like a
the
got
actual
like a not actual. You know, it'd be real hard to put your foot in literally
Right,
backwards.
I'm like, wait, what?
Carve a
They
new
would have
hole
them on
in
the
the
wrong
front.
feet.
Yeah.
So what she would do is she would take a pen and she would draw a little bitty asterisk on like the inside of both. And when you put them together, if you touch the
Yeah.
asterisk together, then you put your foot in the right way. And we were talking about when high school. We were talking about that one time. Do you remember that? I'm like, yeah, my mom still does that for kindergartners. And one of the guys on our team, we just thought it would be really funny. Right before we did it, he left his shoes out before a game, and we're all in there. And so we took a marker, and I drew huge asterisks on the inside of both. So he had to play an entire game with the asterisk. We're the only ones who knew what it meant, and we thought it was hilarious every time, as if he didn't know what shoes to put together, which way his shoes went on his feet.
That's pretty funny.
Which one of you assholes did it? And of course, they always suspected me.
What
Dolan.
did you-
Dolan did it. It's so funny. Who is this guy pitching for the Cubs now? Good
Is
lord,
this
are
Tom
f-
Cosgrove and his Cubs
are
days?
Yeah, it's the
fans
guy we
coming
got from
out of the?
That's the guy they got from the Padres.
Oh, so what is Drew Pomeranz on the injury list already?
Possibly.
It's an 8-0 game. You got to save Drew Pomeranz.
No,
for the
but whose
high
roster
situations.
spot did he get? They don't have to have 3 lefties now.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, is he a lefty? I don't know. Because Steelbar also pitched in this game.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering. So maybe they got 3 down there now. Because Pomeranz looked really good.
He did
And
against
Yeah.
the Phillies on Friday.
Oh, they optioned Ethan Roberts.
Thank God. I
I
couldn't understand.
like
I
Roberts.
couldn't understand how the guy had a job.
All right.
Man, if you
He had
were
some pretty good outings
if you
against
were
the Dodgers.
if you were older, you would remember a Cub named Casey Coleman.
Yes.
And Ethan Roberts is Casey Coleman with a tat sleeve and glasses. And I don't need another one.
Oh, God.
Vaguely remember Casey Coleman on the what was it, 2010 Cubs?
Tiny
maybe?
little guy. Bigger than
Yeah.
Tim. Remember Tim Collins?
Yes.
The dainty little, he was like 5'6".
Mhm.
He was a good year for the Royals once, I think. And then the Cubs got him.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I think I may be getting him mixed up with Terry Collins, the old manager of the Mets. And the
Yeah, it's not the
Angels.
same guy.
No, okay.
Tim Collins
I don't know,
listed
yeah.
at 5'7", 166. So we're talking
Oh.
5'4". If you're listed at
Frickin-
5'6", 5'7", you're
Lefty Ryan
hit
Dempster.
a
Jesus.
3.12 ERA for the Cubs in 2019 in 9 games.
2019, holy cow.
Should
All
have
right.
kept him.
Hey, if we're adding more lefties, call him up, Jed.
How about all lefties? Maybe that's the new
all lefty
efficiency.
bullpen.
Just let's go all lefties. A whole pitching staff is just lefties.
Well, for a while, it looked like they would have 4 lefties in the starting rotation, right?
Yeah. Now they got one.
Yeah, down to 1.
And now he just
No,
left with an injury.
no, let's think on
I
Matt
mean,
Boyd.
let's be honest here.
Oh, that's right. I did forget Bat Boyd. Well, they're now to 1 now with Shōta out.
You had too many lefties to the team. Tom Ricketts might not like that.
That's true.
What a garbage family. Sorry, Tom. I know you're listening.
Now, I don't know, you guys. Did you guys watch? Well, Praz was there. Did you watch the Sunday night game, Oleg? Because you could watch the Cubs.
Yes.
And because Pete is like one of the coolest dudes around.
Yes.
He really is. Like he's a super impressive, just person, much less.
Yeah.
It was one of the few in-game interviews that wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like he did a really good job, but he did say something that was true. And I wondered, he basically was talking about Miguel Amaya, and he's like, well, we don't have very many Latins on the team. So, and then he started to trip on his tongue because he didn't want to make it sound then like Miguel like didn't speak English. I mean, he was like, he screwed himself in. But I mean, we noticed it like 2 years ago, they literally signed 11 free agents. They were all white guys.
Yes.
And then this year was mostly white guys. On their 40-man roster, they have 33 American-born white guys.
Yeah.
Well, and
that cannot be an accident.
There's a couple.
One person who has some black in him, but he's not on the active roster right now.
Tyson Miller is the only African-American on the entire 40-man.
Man.
And then they have Palencia now. Their opening day roster only had Amaya and Brujan. Well, it depends when opening day was, right?
Yeah.
Fidel went to Japan, but he wasn't on the opening day roster. So like their opening day roster in Arizona had Shōta, Seiya, and Amaya, and I think that's it for.
Yeah.
And so I was joking. It's like, well, it's because Tom doesn't. They're trying to make their roster as deportation proof as possible. But it's bad when like Nicky Lopez from Naperville gets put on the roster and like, look how diverse we are now.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I don't know that counts.
Dude,
Naperville, a real hotbed of culture.
Richards? Yeah, this is holy cow. This the pictorial.
Yeah, it's really stark when you just scroll through the pictures. It's like, oh, well, that seems like a choice.
Like looking at all the presidents.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Holy cow. I mean, on the active roster, there's literally 3, right? There's Brujan, Palencia, and Amaya.
Yeah, as far as the Latin American guys. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean,
that's okay. It's not like most of baseball's great players are people of color or anything.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
That's not.
Wow. Holy cow. That is that. I guess I just never. I mean, I guess if you think about it for 10 seconds, then you notice that. But I never thought about it.
Well, one guy who is still butthurt for his treatment with the Cubs is why can't I think of his name?
Brett Anderson,
fantasy team now. No, the guy that throws 1,000 miles an hour for the Padres. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, Jeremiah Estrada.
Jeremiah Estrada.
Yeah. Yes.
I had a friend of mine who in the media who sent me a clipping because I don't read the San Diego Tribune. Who in the first game of the series when Estrada, I think he struck out the side. He knew where Jed was, and he screamed at him from the field as he walked off the mound.
You know what?
Yes,
I love that. I love that.
Like he's
Jeremiah
still pissed
Estrada
that the Cubs dropped him from the 40-man.
Wow, good for him.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Get
and
your,
the guy in the press box just saw it, and so he just wrote it up. Like, oh man, this happened.
Is that
good for him?
Is that the great Kevin Acey writing that?
Yeah, I don't know who wrote it. I forget now, but it was. I enjoyed it when I read it. I'm like, yeah,
that'd
be nice. That guy
stuff.
certainly would have fixed a lot of problems in his bullpen. They just
yes.
The Cubs don't need him.
No, not now. Tom Cosgrove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was Gavin Hollowell, right, who came up, pitched 2 innings, and then got sent right back.
Yeah.
And I
That's
wondered
tough
if that
for him.
was. Do you think that was like the plan? Because it was basically like Pomerantz was there, but he wasn't active yet, and they well, have him up. He can go a couple innings. We'll send him back to Iowa, no matter what. But yeah, I mean, when you're struggling for relief help, and he looks great in 2 innings, and is immediately on a bus.
Yeah, I think
Very
can't
reminiscent
overplay.
of. Remember when Victor Caratini first came up in 2017? Had a big home run against the Brewers that like put the Cubs in first place after trailing them all year, and I think the next day he was sent back to Iowa.
Yep.
So there you go.
You
Sorry to cut
can't
you off there, Oleg.
overplay. You can't overplay a hot streak, Andy.
That's true.
You have to know right.
They got their 2 innings, and don't push it.
Yeah. There's. I mean, I don't. You know, obviously the long term. I don't think that was a serious question. Right? We're not.
No,
going
I literally thought, I wondered, like, sometimes they'll do that. Like,
we'll
bring him up, and then like, hey, Craig, he can go as many innings as you need because he's going back tomorrow. So we just use him. I kind of felt like that's what it was, but he looked really good, which is, we'll get him another look. There's no doubt. And if you're a relief pitcher and you get pissed off about being shuttled back and forth to Iowa, I mean, that's just a thing. Every team does that. If you have options, that's the way you can keep fresh arms in your bullpen, is to shuttle those guys back and forth.
But the question I always have is, does that, like, and nobody really cares if it handicaps Iowa at all, but is there, like, you still got pitch?
I worry about it because, I mean, what if it costs them the International League Championship?
Right. I was my point after PCA kind of had that awesome game last week. I don't remember which game it was exactly, but my point was, Chuck was right. Imagine how good Iowa would be right now if PCA was there.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Tom Hardercourt,
Brewers writer
for the Brewers, right? With the Brewers, the whatever Brewer minor league team was, I think it was their AA team. They were like playing for a playoff spot, and he complained because the Cubs sent Mike Olt on a Mike Olt played in the playoffs for whatever Cub minor league team it was against the Brewers affiliate, and he complained that it wasn't fair because they've sent a ringer down, when reality was it was the only team still playing, and they were just trying to get Olt some at bats. And he was like throwing a fit, and it's like, Tom, and I spent some time with Tom when I was in Beloit. He's an awesome dude. He hung out. He was doing a story on Prince and on Ricky Weeks, and he was there, and we had a great time. He told great stories, but it's like the minor league players barely give a shit about that. I mean, the Snappers were playing the Midwest League Championship, and they lost, and they were depressed for like 45 seconds, and then they were like, "Fuck, the season's over. We finally get to go home. Thank God. Fuck you. Fuck Beloit. We're your taillights."
I'm sure the attendance at the Lansing Lugnuts or Peoria Chiefs parade was record-setting for that Midwest League Championship.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you know that they're going to sell out opening day the next day. For the banner
everyone wants to see the banner raising. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think we need to remember what the minor leagues are for.
Yeah,
and
you remember how awesome the last 2 parades have been in Chicago for the 5th best second half. Record.
Yeah, well, and that's just a few years after the Bulls Summer League Championship.
True.
That was a great one.
You can't lose in Chicago.
But 3 straight years now of the emotional 5th best record in the second half.
3 years, yeah. Well,
it's 3 years. So now last year, I did the math just real hastily before I wrote a column, and I thought they missed it by a game, and a reader went and double-checked it and said, no, it was a 3-peat.
3-peat 5th, like exactly the 5th best record.
Yes.
That's,
22, 23, 24, yep.
And if it happens again, you can pretty much be sure that they will miss the playoffs again. So that'll be fun.
Well, it would be a downgrade at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to start thinking that Tom Brady's going to come out of retirement just to get another ring with the Cubs for the 5th best. Trust
Well,
me, yeah.
okay, knowing that it's the Ricketts, that's not the guy they're going to go to. They're going to ask Brett Favre to come out of retirement.
Oh, good
and get
point.
that ring. Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Tom Brady isn't a very progressive guy either.
That's true. That's true.
Now the
I
Cubs
don't think a lot of ball players are.
the Cubs were 17-10 after 27 games. Do you know what they were after 27 games last year?
Is it 17-10?
16
No,
and
it can't
11.
be that high.
They were 18-9.
Really?
Ooh,
They
okay.
actually had they got up to a better start last year than this year.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
I swear I remember. I thought they had the bullpen had blown more games in April. I guess I was wrong.
They didn't do it until it was like May and June when all of a
Yeah.
sudden they were just losing games in mind-boggling
Right.
fashion.
That-
Well, they stopped hitting, and like
Yeah.
this is like
Yes.
that's why everybody's like all hopped up on this year's team. Like, whoa, it feels like this is what they did last year too.
Yeah.
that
I mean, the-
27th game, would that have been the one game they won at Fenway Park last year before they got blown out the next day?
I don't know.
Like
I think it was
17-0.
Mega Montemuro that wrote a thing about
Okay.
the start and basically pointed out that a year ago they were actually a game better. Now, the reason that this feels different is that we were
playing
all
good
kind of
teams.
geared up for
Yeah.
them to kind of struggle early because the schedule was so
Correct.
tough.
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
did,
yeah.
and they
Correct.
didn't.
Yep.
And so
Right.
hopefully that means that there's a baseline there, and they
Yeah.
have, this team's a lot different in that. Although, especially if they continue to lose pitchers, that's not great. But
Yeah.
you've got a far better. Kyle Tucker is so much better than anybody they had last year, and now you
Yes.
have Pete playing at a.
Yes.
Pete was barely up at this point last year. Like last
Yes.
year, he hit his first career hit was like the anniversary of it was like just a few days ago.
Mhm.
Let me take a look because I think I saw on Fangraphs like Pete was like way up there for WAR right now, right?
Oh, he is. His defense is.
Yeah, in
he's
that,
the best defensive player in the
I
league.
think.
So in that Mark DeRosa breakdown
Yeah,
in the newsletter, which is behind the paywall, so you have to you got to subscribe so you can read that part of it.
some of us pay.
It's like since last August, he has the 5th highest F-WAR in baseball, and the guys ahead of him are like Shohei and Judge,
yeah,
Corbin Carroll,
yeah.
Bobby Witt, yeah.
and Bobby Witt. That might be it. Those are the
But-
guys.
But it was hilarious when you see it. Yeah, he's the fifth. But like Aaron Judge is like
yeah, right.
full 1.5 higher than the second place guy. It's hilarious. But yeah, you're right. Like, and there's something. Sam, running around the bases. If Pete Crow can have a 130 OPS plus for a year, he would be a legitimate MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Maybe even I don't even know if he needs to get to 130.
Right.
Like maybe 120 does it. Like the guy is like he probably wouldn't win, but he's legitimately good if the bat stays good. And he's legitimately good anyway. The floor is pretty high, but he's a good ball player.
Yeah, he was 139 coming into tonight, and he homered tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And he leads the National League in stolen bases. He's 12 out of 13.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing he doesn't do is walk.
Yeah.
But
The other thing that DeRosa pointed out on that thing was he's not chasing as much. He's making contact when he does get the bat on the ball. And it's actually kind of interesting. I wonder what his baseball savant. I wonder how hard he hits the ball.
his strikeout rate is down from last year, but not. It's 23%. It's a little too high, but it's not bad. It's not. It's kind of bad. 20 strikes out almost a quarter of his bats. He gets that down into the teens.
Yeah, he doesn't hit the ball.
Which is attainable.
Yeah. I said what I said, and his chase percentage is in the 2nd percentile.
How many of those are pitches that he maybe bunts through?
Dansby's is
to
really good.
Bring it full circle.
I like
His
the
chase
Dansby
percentage.
85th percentile for chase, but then only like 16th percentile for
Whiff.
or really bad for whiff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he knows what a strike is. He just does. Oh yeah, it's the 2nd percentile of chase.
Yeah. But dude, that fielding run value and base running run value is hilariously amazing.
77 batting value, 99 base running, and 100 fielding.
Yeah, 99 percentile. Yeah,
He's already. Is that 7?
It's 7 outs above average.
7 outs above average already.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. It's how well do you make the plays that you can get to, which is a little bit different than zone rating, which is how well do you get to the ball, right? There's a little bit of a difference between the two. It's a little bit nuanced.
Mhm.
He's also 96
really
percentile for sprint speed.
Yeah, I mean he's
There's a lot of big numbers on this.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old.
Yes.
Cubs might wish they had actually made him an actual serious contract extension offer instead of whatever the weird one was.
He could not have picked a better time to start just going off.
Literally, the day that story came out, he started hitting.
The funny thing is,
I think I even tweeted something and said something on Blue Sky to the effect of, "Man, Pete, you're really struggling at the plate right now. You should have taken that contract offer." And it's been egg on my face ever since then.
Hey, at least you didn't do he should get sent down Blue Sky. I don't know, what do we call tweets in Blue Sky?
That's true.
That was Chuck said that because they had him because he was bunting?
I don't know.
I think that was why. Well, if he's going to bunt there, they might as well send him to the minors.
So the interesting thing, right, is you got the players who sign up. I'm thinking a thought out loud. What the hell? Players who generally sign early extensions tend to not be first round picks. They tend to be or players who don't get huge bonuses, either as a 16-year-old or whatever, right? Because Albies was kind of one of those who signed a really team-friendly deal, but it was a huge amount of money for him and his family.
The Braves have been doing with all their guys. Yeah.
Well, the Braves just take advantage of these.
Yeah,
they do. These players. So I feel like Pete Crow, and he only got $3.5 million as a signing bonus. He got $3.5 million as a signing bonus as a first-round pick. But I kind of feel like it's going to take, obviously, it's going to take more than $75 million, and he may not sign an extension. Why would he at this point?
So, do you think the Cubs' inability to get guys to sign extensions has anything to do with the fact that they tend to acquire white guys from upper middle class families?
I mean,
maybe.
Honestly, it really it kind of does, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're more financially secure. The money they're making now, they can bet on themselves to continue to get more. Where other people are they can get their whole family.
Yeah.
Especially in
poverty.
In the case of PCA, who has parents in Hollywood, so
and relatively speaking, right, $35 million.
Yeah, mom is still rolling in the little big league money,
right?
So.
$100 million to Ronald Acuna, based on his upbringing, means a lot more than it does to
for
Pete
sure.
Crow.
Definitely,
it's a crazy thing to say out loud, but $100 million means more to Acuna, so he's willing to give up whatever it is that he gave up to sign with the Braves. Not only that, but he was much younger. Pete Crow's 23, so he was much younger also when he came up. So he'll get to be a free agent sooner, and all of that. So with Pete Crow, now I'm calling him Pete Crow, like Sutton does. With Crow Armstrong, it's still very he can wait, and he knows he's got one more huge contract in him, where somebody like Acuna may have a second one because just of age.
So what do we think Ashley Crow is still making money off of? She was in one episode of Supernatural in 2014. She was in 11 of The Secret Circle, whatever that is. One episode of Grey's Anatomy. She was in 41 episodes of Heroes. I don't know, is Heroes syndicated anywhere? If it is, that'd be some. I mean, it didn't get to 100, so it doesn't. When you get to 100 episodes, that's when you get real syndication money.
Right.
Wait, is that right?
She played a judge on Nip Tuck for one episode. Yeah, I know somebody who's on the cast of Chicago Fire, and when they got to their 100th episode, he's basically like, I'm good.
Oh, is that right? That's interesting.
My mom has made a few cameos on there as well, actually. Me and PCA have that in common. Our moms have been on Chicago Fire together.
Well, I don't know if Ashley Crow was on Chicago Fire. I don't see it on here.
Okay.
This was somebody who went to NIU, and I know him.
Gotcha. Just for the sake of argument, Ashley Crow's been there too.
She was in a 1990 TV movie, Kojak, None So Blind, with Telly Savalas. So there you go.
Wow.
And then what's so her I know, but what's dad? He's the Armstrong, not Lance. I don't think.
Well,
That'd be
that would
That'd be
maybe
weird.
explain why PCA is doing as well as he is baseball wise. He's got those genetics.
That's his dad. His dad is Matthew John Armstrong.
Okay, Matthew John Armstrong.
Is that right? No, I'm asking.
Are you looking somebody up? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Just have it. Oh, he was born in Chicago. Oh, that's the guy.
I remember hearing an interview that PCA did around the time of the convention saying that he has family in like the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah,
makes
his
sense.
dad went to Naperville Central.
Oh yeah, that's him. I recognize the picture now.
Him
He was
and,
on. He was only on
Lopez.
8 episodes of Heroes, though. Ashley was on
Is that how
all.
they met?
They were. That was 2006. So
Okay.
no, they were. Little Pete was already bouncing around somewhere.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, his he's a bit younger than Ashley, huh?
Mm.
He's only 51. He's a bit younger than us. Well, not than Praz, but
Well, not younger than me.
and Ashley's
So,
in her 60s. Whoa!
I don't know.
check that out.
Did you hear? So at the very end of the interview, Carl Ravitch asked Pete how old he was when he first saw Little Billy, and is it his favorite baseball movie?
Mhm.
And he said he didn't know, but really young. And yes, it's his favorite baseball movie. And I thought maybe because they ran out of time. But when he said, "Do you think your mom slept with Timothy Busfield in real life too?"
Oh,
Why don't they let me do the in-game interviews? You're. So what year was that, Pete? Because you're a redhead, and kind of a redhead. I guess he's mostly blonde. No, I guess when his hair grows out, it's kind of red. It could be a little of the bus in there.
oh, but yet, and Matthew John is not. Do we have a? Is
Yeah.
there a?
I mean,
Oh.
obviously, it would have had to have gone on because that 1994 was Little Big League, so Pete would have been born for 8 years.
Yeah. Oh.
Right.
But you
Oh.
never know. Could have just been they had kept a candle burning.
That Timothy Busfield is quite irresistible.
He is. That's quite a cast in Little Big League. Timothy Busfield, obviously, Ashley Crowe, Dennis Farina.
Okay.
Is in it. Jason
Berman.
Robards. Obviously the best actor in the entire thing, Leon Durham.
Yes.
Now you're just pandering to Donahue again.
I know. But Kevin Dunn, who was one of my favorite actors from Veep. He's been in a lot of stuff. He is Nora Dunn's brother. I don't know if you knew that or not. Former SNL cast
Okay,
member.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always reliably good in anything that he pops up in.
All right.
All right, I guess when we get into the IMDb portion of the episode, it's probably time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
I was going to
we're-
say I'm glad we didn't. I haven't watched any more Gemstones since the last.
We're appealing to
podcast I'm
both
over.
Donahue and Pusateri on this podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
So now I think there's only one left of this. I think the season finale is the
Oh.
series finale.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the last season. I believe it's Sunday night. If it's not, there's only 2 left.
Okay.
But I started watching because I'd never watched it when it was on. I started watching Vice Principals on Max, which also stars Dan. Why do I want to call him? Why have I forgotten his name?
Which guy is it? The guy who was on what was that stoner show with the 2 other guys? The youngest?
The head guy. Why can't I think of his name? I can see him.
Oh, Danny McBride.
Yeah, Danny McBride. Danny McBride and Walton Goggins are both in, and so is in a supporting role. Judy is in it.
Oh, really?
Patterson, yes,
All right.
and she is just as nuts in that show as she is.
I'll put it on my list.
And I saw a thing. I saw Danny. He did the Conan O'Brien podcast, and I watched part of it. And he was talking about how he had never met Walton Goggins, but Walton came to audition for Eastbound and Down, which is the HBO show where Danny McBride plays the Kenny Powers, the minor, the basically John Rocker.
Yes. Great.
And
show.
Walton read for a role that they gave to Jason Sudeikis instead. But then he was like, I need to do something. So he wrote the other vice principal for Walton Goggins. And,
cool.
Yeah. Vice principal is not as funny as The Righteous Gemstones, but it is pretty funny.
Okay.
And it was just they did it for 2 years, and it's the show they did before. But he talked about why he wrote The Righteous Gemstones. After Vice Principals ended, he moved to Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
And Gemstones is set in South Carolina.
Okay.
And he said, you can't turn the TV on, and there's not a TV preacher, and the mega churches are all over. And he said, I knew that was like something ripe for comedy. And he said, but the one thing and I've noticed this in the show, they don't make fun of, like, the parishioners never get made fun of. Like, the people who come to the things, who go to the gemstone stuff in the show, they don't get made fun of. It's the grift of the pastors is what they focus on. And he said to him, it was really important not to make fun of religion, just to make fun of basically televangelists and the ridiculous how they become like these weird rock star kind of people who have no concept of how the real world works anymore.
Osteen,
and he said that to them was going to be what's fun. And that's one of the things that's so good about that
makes sense.
The show.
It's the difference between punching up and punching down.
Yeah.
Right. You don't make fun of it. Like, the people are just they're looking for whatever it is they're looking for.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's almost it's almost over. I will miss it. It's a show I had very low expectations for when I first started watching it, and I'm just amazed how funny it is. So.
Did Danny McBride wrote all of that stuff, huh? Or at least did he come up with the ideas? Like, all 3 of those shows? That guy's pretty good.
Yeah, and he basically plays the same guy basically in all.
Yeah.
But
just a sleaze.
Actually, he doesn't really play the same guy, but they all have the same, like, what he plays really funny is overconfidence.
Yeah, right.
And he's just really good at it. So he gives that all of those characters are way too overconfident, and all of them think they know what words mean that don't. Like, and it's just he's really good at it, and it fits all 3 characters, so it's perfect that he does it.
That's good stuff.
All right.
Yeah, good talk to you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Ready.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. Got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much, Andy.